What is up, lovers of budget cars and bikes? Welcome back to the channel and another product review. Another scanner, another diagnostic scanner from TOPDON, who've been supporting the channel pretty much for the last 3 or 4 months now, and I really appreciate all the stuff they send out and all the support they give as well. An amazing company. I really can't recommend them highly enough, not just because they send out amazing products, just because they're so incredibly friendly. They're UK based, although the products do come out of China. They are a UK based company in that respect, that you'll get your stuff within 48 hours. You haven't got to wait months for it or weeks for it, and then you haven't got to pay taxes on it. So you can rest assured that if you do buy stuff from TOPDON, you will get it pretty much within 48 hours, I would think, barring weekends, and you will get a lot of support as well. And as I said, UK based support as well, which is incredibly helpful if you need to send anything back, if you've got questions, that kind of stuff. So as I said, I cannot recommend them highly enough. So what have we got? I did ask them to send out something a little bit more professional, should we say, not like top of the range that you would use in a professional garage environment necessarily, but something a little bit more advanced than the Artidiag 400, which we've also done a review on, which I'll stick in up here somewhere throughout this video. So they've sent out really kindly this Artidiag 600s, which is, so far looking at the specs, an amazing bit of kit. We're going to obviously do a very full and thorough review on this, but this is going to be the first part of the video, the unboxing, just to see what we get, talk about the specs, that kind of stuff. So let's get this box open and see what we find inside. As you would expect, there is the cover case there. This is obviously your instruction manual, user guide as it were, and a quick start guide, all the stuff that you would expect to get in any kind of electrical product these days, really, I suppose. There's no serial numbers to input, there's no codes to have to put up, you don't have to register it, none of that nonsense. You just basically plug and play. So we'll move those out of the way for a second. And there it is. That is the Artidiag 600s. It does actually have its own standalone power source, unlike the Artidiag 400 that we did, where it would only actually power up from the power in the car battery, as it were. This actually has its own standalone power source as well, which is actually quite useful if you need to do updates. Bearing in mind, you will get lifetime updates for this as well from TOPDON, so you never have to pay a penny. Once you buy this, it's yours for life, and the updates are free for life. You can't argue with that. So, what have we got? Just inside the box, you've got your charger and data cable there, a couple of anti-damp kind of packets there as well, and a little cap which seems to have fallen off the end of there already, so I'm not quite sure how useful that would be, generally speaking. I think we could probably just throw that away, to be fair. So we'll move this box out of the way and have a look at the unit itself. And there it is, the Artidiag 600s. I've been waiting for this for a few weeks, and I'm so glad it's arrived, because this is going to do everything I need it to do when it comes to diagnostic work on my cars, my motorcycles, that kind of stuff. We still got the little yellow engine warning light on the RAV4, so in a minute we're going to pop out there and we're going to have a little look, see what this brings up as well, because it'll be interesting to see how this diagnoses the fault with the RAV4 compared to the budget option Artidiag 400. The only negative I would say I've seen so far with this, if there is any, is there's no carry case, which is a bit surprising at this kind of price range. I mean, you're looking around about 140 quid for this, but as I said, that does include lifetime free updates. But for 140 quid for something this delicate and this kind of size, I mean, that's palm of my hand there. You can see the kind of size it is there. I would have expected to see a carry case, a protection case of some description. Doesn't seem to be one, which is a little bit disappointing. Anyway, we're going to switch this on now, hopefully, and see what we are greeted with. There we are, TOPDON. Obviously, there's their logo. Now, this will take a few minutes to actually load up. It's surprising how long this takes. So while we wait for that to load up onto the user screen, I'll talk to you about the casing as well. Obviously there is your power button, and the sides, the top and the front here is all really well protected with this hardened rubber kind of edging all the way around here. I don't think you're going to cause much damage to this throwing it about, which is probably why they haven't included a carry case, but it would have been nice to have something to protect the screen perhaps. Over here we've got the side loading door, if I can just quickly get that open one-handed, and you've got your micro SD card there and your Type-C charging port, so if you need to expand the memory or upload files on to the TOPDON 600s, you can do that via the SD card slot there, and then we'll just close that up ever so quickly, and we are up and running. There is the home screen you are greeted with. We are obviously going to go out to the car in a moment, and we'll talk about all the functionality, put it through its test and all the rest of it. This is the instruction manual. I've just had a very quick look through that actually. There's the quick start guide. We'll put that aside for 1 minute, but I was just looking through this, and it is actually quite comprehensive. It talks to you all about how to do and what to do and what it means and all that. It's pretty comprehensive considering how small it is. That's going to be actually really useful for people like me who don't necessarily use high-end scanners like the 600s. That is going to be really invaluable, so I'm very glad they've included that, because a lot of these companies, they'll send you out something, you know, really kind of high-end like this, but they won't send out any information on how to use it. So that is invaluable in my opinion. As I said, there is the home screen. We'll get to the back of the box now and we'll talk about all the functionality of this, and then we'll pop out to the RAV4. So turning the box over, effectively what we see straight away is just some basic info. We've got 4 system diagnosis modules here, the engine, the AT, the ABS and the SRS, and then 8 maintenance services as well, including an oil reset function, which basically means if you get a light on your dash saying you need an oil service, you don't have to take that to a garage to get that kind of warning light taken off. You can do the oil service at home and then reset it with this machine. Same can be said for the brake reset. If you've got sensors on your brake pads to tell you that they're wearing down, and then you get a warning light on your dash, you can change the pad yourself and then reset that. It's also got the battery reset. Now I know on a lot of BMWs, in fact most if not all BMWs, when you change the battery you have to tell the computer in the car that you've done that. Effectively you would probably need to take that to a garage, let them hook it up onto their big expensive snap-on diagnostic thing, and then tell the car you put a new battery in. Might cost you 50 quid to do that. You don't have to pay that now. You can do that with this. It's got an SAS reset as well. I'm not sure what that is. I think it's something to do with the steering, and it's obviously got a lot more. We will get into all the functions as and when we go through this video. A little bit of info here as well, 5-inch TFT, a little bit of voltage information. So here we are guys in the RAV4 again. If you've been watching any of the other videos we've done on the RAV4, you'll know that we do have, I'm going to just put this on, we do have a check engine light on. I'm going to try to just show you that. It's just down there, as you can see. If I start the car up ever so quickly, then you'll see as the car is running, the check engine light is on. Now we know, I'm going to just turn this off a sec. We know what that is. We did a quick test with the RT400, I think it was. That was the budget option from TOPDON, and we found out some things about that. We know it's the oxygen sensor of the CAT, oxygen sensor 2 bank 1 or something like that. Anyway, if you've seen that video, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But I just wanted to get onto the RAV4 and see how their updated, more professional scanner works compared to the cheaper budget option, and what more information we can find out from this compared with the budget option, obviously, because the budget option did come up with the same fault code. It would clear it, but it would come back again in a couple of seconds. So I'm curious to see how this is going to pick up on that code, and if it's going to tell us any more information compared to the cheaper budget option, or if it's just going to tell us the same stuff. Now, as I've said before, this is not a budget option by any means. This is not the top of the range by any means, but it is not a budget option. This is what I would call their mid-range range, the 600s from TOPDON, and it has so many functions. I cannot even begin to tell you how many functions this has got. I mean, as we look at the screen now, we've got diagnosis, IM readiness, OBD2, the repair info, maintenance, updates, of course, an RT folder, which I'm assuming is where you would store some of the scans you've done. Feedback, I guess you can go online and basically give them your feedback. We are connected to the internet, as you can see. We've currently got 13.2 volts as well, which is very good. That's really handy to have that out there as well, actually, because if we just start the car up now, say you had an issue with your battery going flat all the time, you could just simply plug this in and you can now see that it is charging. So it's not the alternator or anything like that. That's fine. I mean, obviously if that was below 14, you'd know that you probably had a problem with your alternator as opposed to your battery, and you can work it out that way. I mean, that's just a very, very simple thing, but really, really helpful. Let me just turn this engine off a sec, guys. So what do we get here as well? If I just show you this ever so quickly, we've got a screen record here as well. This is the update. I've just actually done a bucket load of updates as well, but only for the cars that I'm ever going to use. Obviously we've got Fiat Abarth, Alfa Romeo Lancia. This car make here I've never heard of. I'm not likely to get a Ferrari, so I haven't updated any of them. GWM, don't know who they are. Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, Holden in Australia. There's a couple of Indian manufacturers as well. Maserati, Mercedes-Benz, yeah, okay, Nissan, Malaysian stuff, Porsches. I'm not going to be buying anything like that anytime soon, so it was kind of pointless me downloading the updates for those specific cars. What I have done is updated stuff for like Toyota, obviously, and for Ford and BMW, that kind of stuff that I'm going to use on a daily basis. That's your update function there. You just click into there, it'll tell you. It's actually saying there I've got 25 updates available, and I've done 61, I guess, in that respect. That little button, well, not button, that little icon there is a screen record as well, which is very, very useful. I'm going to try to use that in a minute. And here is your settings menu in here as well. You can go into here and decide what you need on, as in the screen record there, as you can see. I'm hoping this isn't going to go too out of focus as I go up and down through here. Brightness, unit of measure, language, yada yada yada, all the usual stuff you would get on an Android device basically. So we're going to talk quickly about what this will do, this Artidiag 600s. It has 4 big functions, as in it can diagnose and reset the ABS, the SRS, in other words your airbags, the engine and the gearbox transmission. It's also got 8 other functions. You can bleed your ABS as well, 34 different manufacturers that'll cover. You can do a DPF, a diesel particulate filter regeneration as well. It'll do 39 different manufacturers for that. You can put in a new battery as well, because as you will probably know, if you replace the battery on something like an Audi or a BMW, you often have to take it to a garage to have them tell the car that you've done that. No need, this will do it for you. You can reset the electronic handbrake as well, so if you want to do the pads on that, you've often got to tell the car that you've done that. You can do that yourself. Throttle adaptation as well, so if you've cleaned the throttle bodies, you can basically reset that through here. Tire pressure monitors, all that kind of stuff. This also comes with a lifetime updates function as well, which basically means once you buy this, you will never have to pay for any more. It's a standalone product, you pay your money, and basically it's yours for life. So if any updates come for the manufacturers or new manufacturers, you will get those updates absolutely free. Now that is 90 plus manufacturers that will cover, so you're covered basically. Awesome. You've also got a data stream function as well. I'll see if I can find that in a minute. I just want to tell you about what you can have here. I'm assuming that's probably IM readiness. We'll let that continue doing what it does there as well, but you can have 4 different data streams running at the same time. So if you've got a problem and you're not exactly sure where it is, you can basically go into the IM readiness and you can data stream 4 different functions. If it's air intake or throttle body position sensors, that kind of stuff, you can do 4 different data streams at the same time and find out which one's running a little bit oddly, shall we say. It's got a 5-inch TFT display as well. I'm sorry, I'm reading all this off a bit of paper that I wrote down for you guys because there's so much going on here. It's also got expandable memory, because that was something that I wasn't sure about. I did watch a couple of videos and I wasn't sure if it was a SIM card slot or an SD card slot. It does have an SD card slot, so basically you can upload stuff off other things, as in, let me just turn this off a sec. You can basically, if someone gives you some information on an SD card, you can put it in here, read it for yourself, have a look at it, all that kind of good stuff. Or you can expand the memory if you're doing a lot of work, as in if you're a kind of semi-professional mechanic and you need a lot of information and you need to store it, just get yourself an SD card, slot it in there and use that as expandable memory. Let's just get out of here for a second, see if we can get to home. The operating system on here seems to be incredibly quick. We are outside the house, but the Wi-Fi is very, very good. Now then, let's get into the car. Firstly, let's have a look at maintenance. As you can see, there is the maintenance menu. You can reset the oil service, reset your brake pads, put the new battery in, you can bleed the ABS, you can clean the DPF. This isn't a diesel car, so that's not going to work for that. So let's get back out. Yeah, let's get out of there. You can see how quick that is. Steering wheel as well, it'll reset the steering wheel adaptation. Let's get back out of here. We've done all that. Right, let's just go into what I will use basically. We'll turn the ignition on and we will go into OBD2, because that's obviously the one we're going to be using the most. It's going to connect the VCI and we will get a VIN number, I imagine. Right, so it's read everything in there. VIN not applicable. Now that's probably because this is a 2000 car, as in the year 2000. Not sure if that's the reason for that. It tells me there is a mil on. We know that. It's right down there, as you can see. DTCs, as in the stored errors, it's got 1 in there. Readiness completed 4, not completed 2. Data stream supported 27 different data streams, and as I said, you can look at 4 of those in conjunction with each other. Ignition's a spark, tells us all of that. So let's have a look at the mil, as in the engine management light, and press the OK button. That should, I'm assuming, take us into there. Okay, so we can actually do a live data. Now that could be interesting, because then we can see exactly what the O2 sensor is reading. Okay, so we've obviously got to decide which one we want. So we're going to do what, this is exactly what I was talking about just now. We can click which ones we want to keep an eye on. So we'll do all the lambda sensors. We're not interested in any fuel, as it were, because obviously I just want to find out what's going on with the oxygen sensors. Okay, I'm going to try to do that one, and that one, and then we will press OK. I guess that's the way. No, press OK on there. There we go. Sorry, I'm still learning with you guys. Right, here we go. Airflow rate from mass airflow sensor. Not sure what that means, if I'm honest, but this is the lambda sensors 1, 2, and 3, I believe. So what we're going to do here, we could read the freeze frame. We can do live data as well, just to check the situation with the O2 sensor, because I know one's gone, because I've got to basically fit another one, which, I mean, I might film, I might not. It's not that important. So we're now just reading the fault code that is in the system. Bank 2 sensor 2 is fine. Bank 1 sensor 1 is fine. That's the O2 sensors. Okay, so because this is such an old car, just like the other one, we're going to have to tell it what it is, basically. So we're going to go into Toyota air fuel sensor heated circuit bank 2. Now, we knew that. We knew it was an 1155. I wonder if we can get any more information than we got from the budget one. We're going to have to go, and it takes us, we don't have to, but it takes us into Google. That's quite interesting, because then without having to get out of the car, I can now basically sign into my Google account, find out exactly what this is all about, even though it does say it's an air fuel sensor heated circuit bank 2. We know that because we've already done the test with the budget one. I'm going to try to clear that code and see what happens. Now, it says it's cleared. As you can see, it's cleared down there. I don't expect that to remain cleared. If it did, then I've just saved myself a bucket load of time, and now there it is, straight back again. Of course, because it is a permanent code, and it's obviously testing that out all the time, and it basically rereads it and says, right, well, that's your problem. And there we have it. I've just done a live stream on all the oxygen sensors, and you can clearly see there now that the second one, i.e. bank 2, cylinder 2, is the one that is at fault, because all the others are telling you about the typical range, as it were, the standard range. And as you can see, that one there is in red. It's actually gone up a little bit now, but it keeps going into red. So that's another way you can test which oxygen sensor has actually gone there, because as you can see, you've got bank 1 sensor 2, bank 2 sensor 2, bank 1 sensor 1, and bank 2 sensor 1 down at the bottom there. You can see all 4, because there's 4 oxygen sensors in this car, and it's actually basically telling you, and you can see clearly there, that it's completely out of range compared to where it should be, although it's actually gone back into the black there. Anyway, that has basically told me a little bit more than I got from the budget range. Obviously, this will do a huge amount more compared to something like the 400, and you can, as I said before, go into the maintenance section here. There's all this stuff that you can do. I mean, as I said in the beginning of this video, if you do your own oil changes and you've got a slightly more modern car that basically needs you to tell the car that you've done the service, all you do is you go into your oil reset here, it'll connect to the car. I'm not sure if it'll do it on this one, but it will connect to the car, and then you can just say, look, I've just done an oil change, and then basically if you've got a little display up on the dash that says service in X amount of miles, you can reset that, then you're off, because otherwise you would have had to go to a garage to get that done. So you can save yourself an absolute fortune. Let's just get out of here and go home, because there's no point in me doing that. I don't actually have an indication for a service warning light on this dash, because this is such an old car, but I just wanted to show you quickly in this car how it picks up on the faults that we've already picked up off a cheaper one, and it tells you a little bit more, and you can actually see in real time how that oxygen sensor was working compared to the others. Okay, let's get into a slightly newer car, see what we can pick up there. What happens if we decide to use it on a slightly more modern car? We've got a project car here at the moment. It's a 2012 Vauxhall Mocha Turbo X. If you've been watching the channel a while, you'll know this came in a couple of weeks ago, and the damage is obvious and the work we've got to do is obvious. But we are getting on with it. And I have not scanned this car yet, so it'll be interesting to see how this works on here, and if you can get into any more settings. I'm assuming you can, and it'll be useful to do a little scan on here as well. So here we are in the Vauxhall Mocha, and I've just plugged us in. The startup time on the 600s is actually surprisingly slow compared to what I've been used to in the past. I mean, it's an amazing machine, don't get me wrong, but the only negative I've found so far is the startup time. I mean, it takes a good 30 to 40 seconds, I would say, from kind of turning the scanner off and then plugging it into another car, and then basically turning it on and then waiting for all this to come up, because all you're greeted with is the TOPDON logo. Anyway, we are in here now, 13.2 volts at the battery. Again, really useful to have that down there. I am going to turn the ignition on. There's the VIN. As I said, the older car back there, the Toyota RAV4, couldn't get the VIN on there, so there's your VIN. Mil status is off, DTCs in this ECU, 0. So let's get out of here, because we don't really need to be in there. I just wanted to show you how it works in a more modern car. I'm assuming then if we go into here, we shouldn't have to tell it what car it is, because it already came up with the VIN number, so it should know exactly what car this is. And this will have an oil service interval warning on the dash, because it's a 2012. Well, just goes to prove I am completely wrong, because it doesn't. You still have to tell it, which I am very surprised at. You would have thought that if it's read the VIN that it would probably be able to tell you what car it is. Okay, well, the ignition is on, but we've still got to tell it. Anyway, we're commuting. Oh, there you are. And now it knows it's a Mocha. Please record or print display information when it's useful. It tells me what year it is, what car it is, and the VIN, which is kind of useful, you know, if you weren't quite sure what your car was. Anyway, let's read the fault codes here, just in case that one comes up. I don't think it will. There we go. There's nothing coming up. Engine oil life reset. That's the one I'm interested in. 96% of oil life remaining. So that shows me that this has had a service really recently. So that's really useful. If you were going to go and buy a car and you weren't quite sure whether the seller was genuinely honest and if they had actually done this big service that they said they do, because a lot of sellers will say, oh yes, it's had an oil change and filter change X amount of weeks ago, all that kind of nonsense. Anybody can say anything they want, because sometimes you can actually reset the service warning light on the dash by pressing X amount of buttons. Here you can plug yourself straight in and you can see it, and you can say, right, okay, well there's only 26% of oil life remaining, so they were a liar. In this case, good news for me. So that is how well it can work on a newer car as well. I'm really impressed with this so far, guys. I'm hoping this has been of some use to you. If you're thinking about buying what I would call a mid-range scanner that does pretty much everything that your garage will do, but for a fraction of the price. Now, bear in mind, these are sub £200 scanners, but they will do so many different things, including really useful stuff like I've just showed you. The oil reset, it will clear DTCs, it will tell you what your VIN number is. You can check live data for 4 different functions at the same time, as we did with the oxygen sensor, just to confirm that it is the one you think it is, or maybe you were given a code with a cheaper scanner and you weren't quite sure if it was accurate. This will tell you 100%. As you can see, you can freeze frame, you can take pictures, you can send these pictures, you can email pictures to people, you can expand the memory, you can bleed the brakes, you can clean the DPF, you can put a new battery in, you can reset the air pressure warning lights, all that kind of good stuff, which you don't get with the budget ones, obviously. And as I said, this is a sub £200 scanner. Bear in mind, if you were going to go to a garage and say to them, look, I don't know what's going on with my car, there's all these faults coming up, but I don't know what it is, etc, etc, they're going to charge you 60 quid probably just to plug it in. And if they do find some codes, they're probably going to charge you £60 an hour while they re-evaluate everything that's going on, because someone's going to have to do exactly what I've done, sit in the car and basically go through all this kind of stuff, and they're not going to do that for free. So you could spend easily £100 taking your car to a garage to find out what the fault is. It could be a £20 fix, but you would have paid £100 basically just to find out what that fix is. If you spend sub 150 quid, I think you can get these for around about 150 quid now actually. So if you were to spend somewhere in that region, I mean obviously I'm going to put links in the description. I will give you a discount code as well if TOPDON give that to me, because they normally do. So follow that link and you'll get a better price than you will get on Amazon, just as a basic price. So if you're into fixing your own cars but you don't want to spend £6,000-7,000 on a snap-on diagnostic tool, get yourself one of these. It will do the 4 basic things that you would expect it to do. It'll do 8 others which you wouldn't expect it to do at this price range. By the way, if you're wondering what that is so you can screen record. So you could actually screen record everything you're doing and then send that to somebody and say, this is what I found on my car, do you know what it is, can you help me? Another great function I forgot to mention. Anyway, I really hope this has been of some help to you guys. As I said, mid-range mechanics, perfect for you guys basically. It's going to be absolutely invaluable to me, this thing, and you get lifetime updates, which you can't argue with that really, can you? I mean, this will do everything that a snap-on will do pretty much, and you get lifetime updates. You don't have to pay for anything. There's no subscription fees, nothing like that. You pay one price, you get lifetime updates. It does 90 different manufacturers, and you can pretty much do anything you like with this, within reason, of course. I mean, it's not £1,000 snap-on. Anyway, as I said, I hope this has been of some interest to you. I'm sorry if it's been a bit of a long-winded one, but because this does so much, I really wanted to do an in-depth kind of analysis of this. Anyway, that is it. We will be doing another scanner soon as well. I won't let you into too many details there on that, because this is a dedicated video for TOPDON. Big shout out to them for sending this out. Really appreciate your support, guys. And we will have another product review probably in about a month's time. I'm going to try to do a product review every month now, so look out for those, along with motorcycles and cars. Anyway, as I said, I hope it helped. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that and give the video a thumbs up, a like and a share, all that good stuff. Really helps me out. I appreciate all the subscribers we've got at the moment. We're getting close to 8,000, which is just mind-blowing basically. So keep subscribing, keep thumbs up in the videos, and we'll catch up in a couple of weeks' time. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Stay safe.